Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second Pony AI CYOA shit show. Okay, let's begin with a simple poll to figure out where we want to start our little adventure. I told Lesson 0 Twilight to hook me up with Rarity, and she wrote at length about how disgusting and undesirable I was. 0 out of 10 would not marry again. Jeez. Why'd you ask the mayor still for dating advice? Looks like votes are starting to slow down. Looks like we may be settled on being Trixie's assistant. Let's begin. It's another calm, tranquil day in Ponyville as various ponies go about their business in the town square. The sounds of ponies talking and mingling in the backwater town mixing with the sounds of familiar nature that surrounds it. Pegasi fly above, moving clouds to and fro in preparation for the light rain scheduled later today. However, the unfamiliar rumbling of wooden wheels on stonework pathways soon echoes throughout the small village. Many ponies casting curious glances towards the source of the sound as a purple and gold wagon, decorated with stars, rolls its way through the town towards the center. The wagon slows to a stop, and moments later, the door swings open, and the boastful magician known as the great and powerful Trixie reveals herself, trotting down the front steps with her head held high. Citizens of Ponyville, consider yourselves the most lucky stallions and mares this side of Equestria, for I, the great and powerful Trixie, have deemed you worthy to witness the greatest, most awe-inspiring feats of magic known to pony kind, she declares with a flourish of her hoof, smirking proudly. Her eyes scan across the small crowd of ponies who stand before her, placing a hoof to her chin in thought. But who among you, Trixie wonders, should be gifted the most prestigious honor of aiding in the assembly of Trixie's show? How do we start this off? How do we get Trixie's attention? Detached thumb trick. Climb her wagon. Alright, we could just be human and get noticed, I guess. I am, Anon says, stepping forward from the crowd. So, I am, Anonymous says, stepping forward from the crowd, stepping towards the stage. Allow me to prove myself. Anon presses his hands together, his thumb pressed against his curled pointer finger. He slowly pulls them apart, giving the illusion he's removed his own thumb. Behold the alien arts of the humans. The great and powerful Trixie raises a curious eyebrow as you step forth, stammering slightly as she attempts to cover her surprise at your sudden appearance. A human? Here in Ponyville? She questions aloud to herself. However, she soon composes herself, clearing her throat as she watches your trick, hardly impressed. Damn it! You call that magic, human? Why, even a young colt could perform such a mundane sleight of hoof, she boasts, before smiling confidently. Very well then, alien. Trixie accepts your challenge. We shall see who this... Shit. We shall see who the superior magician is, you or Trixie. Behold, as Trixie performs a feat of magic the likes of which Equestria has never seen, she says, the aura of her horn intensifying. Ah, crap. Yeah, being a human probably was enough. And now we are in a magic duel with Trixie. We challenged her hubris. Tell her you can guess her age with one simple question. When she asks what is the question, to see what is your age? Let's try another response, let her cook. Alright, one more response we shall do. Trixie smirks confidently as her horn grows brighter, levitating several large hoops from behind her stage. Observe closely, human, and perhaps you'll learn a thing or two about real magic. With a dramatic flourish, Trixie leaps gracefully through the first hoops, spinning in midair before landing perfectly on the other side. The hoops suddenly ignite with purple flames as Trixie continues to jump through them with ease, the fire licking at her coat but leaving her unharmed. The crowd gasps in awe at the display, but Trixie isn't finished yet. With a burst of magic, the flaming hoops begin to spin rapidly around her as she poses proudly in the center. Ha! Let's see your alien magic top that! Trixie boasts, basking in the cheers of the impressed ponies. She turns to you with a smug grin, eagerly awaiting your response to her dazzling performance. Show her the power of human hips. Hula hoop. For Trixie, this is just foreplay. Oh no. Pull a bit out from behind her ear. I don't think we're gonna impress her with this stuff, but alright. It's no longer about impressing Trixie, we have a crowd to win. Oh no. That's so corny. It is. These are freaking dad magic tricks and we're trying to impress an actual magician with them. But I kind of like the direction Coaster's going. You know, Trixie, I don't work for free, and then pull out the bit from behind her ear. But this will work as payment. It seems you're lined with bits. Most of the audience looks on confused, barring a single gray Pegasus with a blonde mane who cheers enthusiastically at the simple sleight of hand trick of Anon. Trixie's eyes narrow in suspicion as she watches you pull out a bit from behind her ear, frowning slightly. Surely you jest. The great and powerful Trixie would never stoop so low as to hide money in her mane like some common street performer. She huffs indignantly, stomping a hoof. Magician's gaze drifts to the lonely Pegasus cheering you on, and she can't help but roll her eyes. Oh please, even Derpy is impressed by your little parlor tricks. Trixie's magic is in a league of its own. She turns back to you, a confident smirk returning to her face. Trixie's show is free of charge, human, where she performs for the sheer joy of amazing and astounding her beloved audience. Now, unless you have some real magic to show, Trixie, kindly step aside and let a true master work her craft. I feel like this story is gonna go nowhere if we just keep trying to best Trixie at magic. Twilight said they were impressive. We could do that, and then we could give Twilight a chance to respond from the crowd or something. That would be kind of funny. Conan crosses his arms with an indignant huff. Huh. Twilight said they were impressive. Twilight? As in Twilight Sparkle? Trixie questions, raising a brow at the mention of the princess's name. She scoffs, rolling her eyes. Please. Twilight wouldn't know real magic if it zapped her in the flank. Trixie has no need for her approval, or any pony else's for that matter, the magician declares, stomping a hoof for emphasis as her cape billows dramatically behind her. Trixie's horn begins to glow once more as she levitates several colorful balls and pins, juggling them skillfully in the air. Face it, human, you're out of your depth here. Trixie's magic is unrivaled in all of Equestria, she boasts, the object spinning faster and faster around here. Now, unless you have something truly impressive to show, Trixie suggests you step aside and let her continue her show. Ponyville is waiting to be dazzled by the great and powerful Trixie. Are we already resulting into assaulting the magician? Alright. Do a backflip. We need to pivot. Yeah. Time to dispose of our dignity. Come back later with Linky to vandalize her wagon. Oh no. I've got one last trick up my sleeves. With that, Anon deftly scritches behind her ear, causing her to lose focus on her magic as the spinning balls and pins clatter harmlessly to the ground. Her ear flicks cutely. Trixie's horn fizzles out as her concentration is broken, the magical aura dissipating as the juggled objects clatter to the stage below. Hey, what do you think you're doing? She stammers, stepping back from your touch as her ear flicks involuntarily. A faint blush colors her cheeks, the magician clearly caught off guard by the unexpected scritches. Trixie doesn't know what kind of alien magic that was, but it won't work on her a second time. She declares, trying to regain her composure despite the lingering tingle behind her ear. With a huff, Trixie's horn reignites as she levitates the fallen props, setting them aside. Enough of your distractions, human. Trixie has a show to put on, and she won't let you upstage her any longer. The magician turns back to the crowd, forcing a confident smile. Now, where was Trixie? Ah, yes, prepare to be amazed. We were supposed to be helping her with her show. That Anon steps off this stage, leaving Trixie to continue the show uninterrupted. Leaving Trixie continue the show uninterrupted as he returns amongst the crowd, ready to offer help packing up once the show is complete. Trixie huffs indignantly as you leave the stage, shooting you a look that's in equal parts flustered and annoyed. The nerve of that human interrupting her show like that. Still, she can't deny the small part of her that's intrigued by your so-called alien magic. Pushing those thoughts aside, Trixie composes herself and turns back to her audience with a flourish. Now, where was Trixie? Ah yes, prepare to be amazed as the great and powerful Trixie conjures a storm of playing cards. Her horn glows brightly as she levitates a deck of oversized cards, sending them swirling through the air in intricate patterns. The crowd oohs and ahs, drawn back into Trixie's performance. As the show continues, Trixie occasionally glances towards where you stand in the audience, wondering just what other tricks you might have up your sleeves. Perhaps you two will have a chance to compare magical notes later. The show continues as Trixie dazzles the crowd with a series of elaborate illusions and magical displays. Colorful fireworks burst overhead, showering the audience in sparks. A flock of doves emerge from Trixie's hat, soaring over the cheering ponies. For the grand finale, the great and powerful Trixie conjures an ethereal image of Equestria's night sky, complete with twinkling stars and nebulas swirling above the stage. As the illusion fades and the crowd erupts into applause, Trixie takes a bow, basking in the adulation. She may have been briefly flustered earlier, but in the end her magical prowess won the day as always. Glancing to where you stand, clapping in the audience, Trixie gives a smug grin and a wink as if to say, "Top that, human." She then turns and trots backstage as her magic gathers up props and packs them away, pleased with another successful show. Alright, do we make our move? Do we go meet her backstage or whatever and try to help her pack up? Separating from the crowd. Anon heads backstage, giving a polite knock against the wall before peeking his head in. Hey Trixie, great show, he says, giving a polite smile. Any help with the, what would it be, packing up, I guess? Trixie looks up from packing away her props as you poke your head backstage, a small smile tugging at her lips despite her best efforts to appear aloof. Well, well, look who it is. Come to admit that Trixie's magic reigns supreme, she teases, levitating a trunk closed with a soft click. Glancing around at the organized chaos of her backstage area, Trixie seems to consider your offer for a moment before nodding. Trixie supposes she could use an extra pair of hands, or whatever it is you humans have. Just don't break anything, she warns, pointing a hoof at you. As you start helping pack up, Trixie can't help but let her curiosity get the better of her. So, Anon, was it? Brings a human to you like Equestria anyway. Trixie can't imagine our quaint little ponies being of much interest to an otherworldly being such as yourself. Oh, that's... No one knows what direction to go with this story. I feel like I have no clue until I saw you. Now I know my purpose must be to be with you and help you. Most could say they have a human assistant, but the great and powerful Trixie. Alright, well, that seems sealed and done, so... Alright, fine. Ponets, he replies, nodding sagely. Ponets? Really? Trixie snickers, shaking her head in disbelief as she watches you pack away some of her spare capes. That's supposed to be some kind of human joke, because if so, it's not a very good one. The magician smirks as she levitates one of the ponets in question from a nearby snack table, examining it curiously. These are just boring old donuts, Anon. Trixie fails to see what's so special about them. With a shrug, she pops the treat into her mouth, chewing thoughtfully. Admittedly tasty, though. As the two of you continue packing up, Trixie can't shake the feeling that there's more to your story than just a craving for equestrian pastries. Come now, surely a human wouldn't travel all the way to Ponyville just for donuts. What's the real reason you're here? Trixie demands the truth. Claude is unamused by our answer. Let's try that. I have no clue until I saw you. Now I know my purposes must be to be with you and help you. Who else could say they have a human assistant but the great and powerful Trixie? Anon says with a playful smirk. Trixie's not sure whether to be flattered or disturbed by your sudden devotion. The magician remarks, eyeing you warily. She backs up a step, ears flattening slightly as she ponders your strange proposal. I thought that might be coming on a little strong. Humans are rather peculiar creatures, it seems. Just what sort of help did you have in mind, anyway? Trixie levitates another prop into the wagon, her brow furrowed in thought. Having an exotic assistant like you could certainly draw crowds and make her shows even more spectacular. But trusting a relative stranger, let alone an alien one, that's not something the great and powerful Trixie does lightly. Trixie supposes it wouldn't hurt to give you a trial run, but, she turns to you, jabbing a hoof against your chest. You'll have to prove your usefulness first. Trixie won't tolerate any slacking or tomfoolery from her assistants, human or pony. Do we have a deal? Or just get Twilight really drunk the night before, that would be funny. Alright, Trixie smirks at the sealed deal, confident she's come out on top of this arrangement. With a human assistant, read lackey, her shows will be the talk of Equestria. She'll reach levels of fame and glory like never before. The proud unicorn brushes past you to lock up her wagon, stifling a yawn. The adrenaline of the show is wearing off, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Well, that's everything packed up. Trixie's ready to hit the road again bright and early tomorrow, she announces. Turning to you, Trixie sizes you up thoughtfully. You're a bit too big to fit in the wagon. No matter, you can sleep outside and keep watch. Consider it your first official duty as Trixie's assistant, she declares with an imperious nod. Let's see if you're still so eager come morning. Now, off to bed with you, and no slurring. Trixie needs her beauty sleep. The end goal is to... I don't know what the end goal here is. That's for you guys to decide. Make a good mattress, crawl into her bed, oh no. Be a good assistant, keep watch, start a campfire, play harmonica. Looks like Twilight wins. Shame we can't make her super jealous and possessive for the lulz. Oh, we could. Okay, let's, Meanwhile, Twilight notices that it's getting late, with no sign of Anonymous coming home. Setting off to find her friend, she soon finds him sitting beside Trixie's wagon, campfire lit as he plays a tune on the harmonica beneath the stars, very much looking like he hasn't gotten much sleep at all. Oh, hey Twilight, he greets, pulling away from his instrument. Anon, there you are, I was getting worried. Twilight trots over, her brow furrowed in concern as she takes in the sight of you camped out next to Trixie's wagon. What in Equestria are you doing out here? And is that Trixie's wagon? The princess peers at the flashy vehicle, then back to you, putting the pieces together. Don't tell me she's roped you into being her assistant. Twilight sighs, shaking her head. And I know Trixie can be very persuasive, but you don't have to do this. Come on, let's get you back to the castle and... Wait, is that a harmonica? Have you been out here all night? Twilight's wings flare in exasperation as she fixes you with a stern look. This is ridiculous. You're exhausted and Trixie's just taking advantage of your kindness. We're going home now. Trixie emerges from her wagon with a yawn, blinking in the morning light. Oh, it's morning? She spots you in Twilight and swaggers over. Well, well, if it is little Miss Perfect, Princess come to spoil Trixie's fun. Nobody invited you, Sparkle. Trixie huffs, glaring at Twilight. She turns to you with a frown. And you, falling asleep on guard duty already? Maybe Trixie was too hasty in hiring a human. Twilight stamps a hoof. He's not yours to hire, Trixie. This is ridiculous. Alan's coming back to the castle with me, and that's final. Oh, is that so? Trixie challenges, horn glowing as she levitates you into the air. We made a deal, Princess. The human is Trixie's assistant now. Trixie plops you into her wagon and slams the door. Trixie and her new helper have places to be. Adios, Sparkle. The wagon takes off in a clatter of hooves and wheels, leaving a sputtering Twilight in the dust. This is getting so good. Trixie stole us. You come back here this instant, Trixie! Abusing a dubious amount of power, Twilight makes a copy of herself and shoots off 2 beams of magic at Trixie's wheels. Oh shit, she's pulling out the stops for this one. The wagon screeches to a halt, sputtering smoke from the wheels. The copies fade away. Twilight flies over to the door and seizes it with her magic, pulling it open with a huff. I cannot believe you. Anon, are you alright? She asks, stepping into the dark interior and flickering on the light. Look, I know Trixie is hard to resist, but you don't have to sign a contract to spend time with her. Let's talk this out. Sparkle! You broke Trixie's wagon, you menace! Trixie shrieks, leaping out and stamping her hooves angrily as she surveys the damage. This is an outrage! A travesty! A blatant disregard for property rights of traveling musicians everywhere! Whirling on Twilight, Trixie jabs an accusatory hoof. Trixie won't stand for this! She and Anon had a deal, sealed with a hoof shake. You have no right to interfere, princess or not. And another thing, Trixie gets up in Twilight's face, muzzle scrunched with indignation. Twilight doesn't need your help talking it out. She's the greatest negotiator in Equestria. Why, Trixie once haggled a whole caravan of camels down to a single carpet in Saudi Arabia. The irate unicorn snorts, turning up her nose. Trixie will handle this her way, thank you very much. Now fix Trixie's wagon so she can be on her way. Trixie, how dare you! Anon is my friend, not some assistant to be haggled over. Twilight's horn glows as she magically repairs the wagon. There, your wagon is fixed, but I'm not letting you take Anon. We're going to sit down and discuss this like civilized ponies. Anon gets to decide for himself what he wants to do. She turns to you with worried eyes. Please, Anon, I know Trixie can be persuasive. I think that's like the 3rd time she said that exact line. But you don't have to go along with her schemes. You're always welcome at my castle. No tricks or deals required. I care about you. At least come have some breakfast with me and we can talk this through. I only want what's best for you. Trixie will just have to understand. Cut to an awkward breakfast with Trixie and Twilight Sparkle, Anon in the middle. Anon's eyes go wide at Twilight's pleading. Surprised at the lengths to which she's willing to go for... fucking hell. Surprised at the lengths to which she's going for him. Twilight, I didn't know you cared. Just then, Celestia approaches from the direction of Sugar Cube Corner, having overheard the commotion while on her weekly cake ordering commute. What is going on here? She asks, her wings flared wide as she takes in the scene. Twilight, you know, says on the matters of deals between 2 sapient creatures. Causing commotion in the middle of town will get us nowhere. Her horn lights brightly as Twilight, Trixie, and Anon are all enveloped in her magic. We settle this in court! In a bright flash, the 4 of them are teleported into the royal court, with Twilight seated as the plaintiff, and Trixie the defendant, with Anonymous seated awkwardly between them, and the Princess of the Sun herself sat at the judge's seat. Celestia gazes down sternly from her judge's seat, her voice echoing through the courtroom. Order! The Royal Court of Canterlot will now hear the case of Twilight Sparkle versus Trixie Lulamoon in the matter of the human Anonymous. She turns to Trixie, eyes narrowed. Miss Lulamoon, you stand accused of coercing an otherworldly being into an unfair labor contract. How do you plead? There we go. That's more what I was looking for. Somehow we are going to end up as Celestia's personal cake slave. Oh no. Not guilty, Your Honor, Trixie declares, stomping a hoof. The human entered into this agreement of his own free will. Trixie would never stoop to coercion. The magician turns to you, batting her eyelashes. Anon, darling, tell the princess how much you want to be Trixie's assistant. We'll have such marvelous adventures together. Whirring back to Celestia, Trixie points an accusatory hoof at Twilight. Besides, Sparkle over there is just jealous that Anon chose Trixie over her. She can't stand the thought of any pony else having an amazing human friend. Trixie puffs out her chest, chin held high. Face it, Twilight, you're not the only special pony around anymore. Trixie and Anon are a team now. There's nothing you can do about it. The deal is binding. The proud unicorn smirks, confident in her legal standing. Celestia can't possibly rule against her, right? Your Honor, this is preposterous, Twilight exclaims, stomping a hoof on the plaintiff's bench. Anonymous is my dear friend, not some prize to be won through cheap parlor tricks and shady contracts. Trixie is clearly taking advantage of his kind nature. Delacorn turns to you, her violet eyes shimmering with emotion. Anon, please, you must see reason. I know you want to help every pony, but binding yourself to Trixie like this isn't the answer. You have so much potential. Don't throw it away on some traveling magic show. Facing the court again, Twilight squares her shoulders. I implore the court to nullify this so-called deal and grant Anon his freedom. He belongs in Ponyville with his true friends who care for him deeply. Trixie's selfish desires have no basis for a legally binding contract. Twilight sits back, her heart racing, praying Celestia will see the truth of her words. Derpy flutters up to the witness stand, eyes pointing in different directions. Muffins! She clears her throat. Yes, Your Majesty, I saw the whole thing. I was just delivering the mail, minding my own business, when I heard Trixie's show starting. He was doing all sorts of neat magic tricks. But then that human Anon stepped up and tried to show her some of his own. She giggles. It was kind of silly, but I cheered for him anyway. It looked like they were having fun. But then Anon was helping Trixie pack up, and the next thing I knew, Twilight was there and yelling about contracts and stuff. Scratches her head with a hoof. I don't know about fancy legal things, but Anon didn't seem upset to be helping Trixie. They looked like they were getting along as great friends. That's adorable. There's another bright flash of her horn as Barry Punch summoned, having witnessed the events of the following night. Wow, he's drunk. That works. Derpy got lost after the show and just followed it on. Barry Punch staggers up to the witness stand, squinting at the gathered ponies and one human. She hiccups, then addresses the court in a slurred drawl. Is this thing on? Taps the microphone. Okay. Let me tell you what I saw. That magic mare Trixie, right? She was doing her little song and dance, showing off for the crowd. Sparky stuff, real impressive, like. He sways on her hooves, barely keeping balance. Then this Anon feller emojis up and does a little trick of his own. Nothing flashy, but you could tell they was having a grand old time. Like 2 peas in a pod they was. Jabs a hoof at Twilight. And then her royal nerdiness over there shows up, pitching a fit about some deal or other. I don't know, Your Honor. It seems to me like Twilight just got her feathers in a bunch over Anon making a new friend. She shrugs, nearly toppling off the stand. But hey, I'm just a humble drunk. What do I know about friendship and junk? Have Twilight object. She's not in the right state. Objection, Your Honor! There it is. Twilight proclaims, leaping up from her seat with wings flared. This witness is clearly intoxicated and her testimony cannot be considered reliable. She turns to Barry with a frown. No offense, Barry, but I think you've had a few too many hard ciders today. Perhaps it would be best if you sat this one out and sobered up, Twilight faces Celestia once more, determination blazing in her eyes. Princess, while I respect Anon's right to befriend whoever he chooses, I simply cannot stand idly by while Trixie takes advantage of his good nature for her own selfish gain. The Princess of Friendship stamps a hoof, her voice ringing out clearly. Binding contracts, outrageous demands, utter disregard for Anon's autonomy. This is not how true friendship works. I implore you, nullify this farce of a deal and let Anon decide his own path, free from manipulative influences. Ha! You're just jealous that Anon wants to be with Trixie instead of you, Sparkle. Trixie declares, stomping a hoof to emphasize her point. Our deal is ironclad. No amount of whining from you will change that. The magician turns to Princess Celestia with a pleading look. Your Highness, surely you can see that Anon has entered into this arrangement willingly? Trixie has done nothing wrong here. All she wants is an opportunity to take her magic show on the road and dazzle all of Equestria. Is that so wrong? Trixie sidles up next to you, batting her eyelashes. Go on, Anon. Tell them. Tell them how much you believe in Trixie and want to be a part of her grand vision. We'll have so much fun together, traveling the land, astounding audiences with our combined talents. Her gaze turns hopeful as she awaits your response, eager for you to take her side. Whisper in Trixie's ear that we will agree if she gives us a kiss. Oh no. Sure, Trixie, I'll tell her if you give me the respect I deserve from here on out. No more making me sleep outside like some kind of dog. Got it? with it? Alright. Should good. Well, when you put it that way, fine. Trixie supposes the human deserves better lodgings. She leans in, whispering back. But don't think for a second this means you can slack off. Trixie still expects your full devotion and assistance with their shows, got it? She pulls back, addressing the court loudly. Your Honor, if it pleases the court, Trixie would like to modify the terms of the arrangement. The human shall be granted adequate... Fucking hell, I cannot talk today. Adequate accommodations and treated as a partner rather than subordinate. With that amendment, surely there can be no further objections to our contract. She fixes Twilight with a smug grin. Well, Sparkle, any other nitpicks? Or can we put this whole silly thing behind us? The show must go on and Trixie has a packed schedule to keep. She tosses her mane impatiently. Celestia strokes her chin with a gilded hoof, considering the modified terms of the agreement. I appreciate your willingness to compromise, Miss Luna Boone. Equal partnership does seem far more equitable than the indentured servitude. Her ancient eyes turn to you, filled with wisdom and compassion. She speaks in a gentle yet firm tone. Anonymous, the choice is ultimately yours. If joining Trixie in her travels is truly your heart's desire, then I will not stand in your way. But know this, you are a free being, not bound to any pony. If at any time you wish to return to Ponyville, you need only say the word. The princess's horn glows, unfurling an official parchment. Let the record show that the contract between Trixie and Anonymous is recognized on the condition that all further amendments be made with the full consent of both parties. It is so decreed. She bangs her gavel, magic sparking. Anna and Trixie are now basically married. What? No! Princess, with all due respect, I cannot accept this! Twilight exclaims in disbelief, slamming her hooves on the bench. I don't care what that ridiculous contract says. Anon is my friend and I won't let Trixie drag him all over Equestria on a whim. The distraught Alicorn turns to you, eyes welling with tears. Please, Anon, I'm begging you, don't do this. You have a home in Ponyville, friends who truly care about you. I care about you. Twilight bows her head, voice cracking with emotion. Stay here with me. We can go on adventures together. Real ones, not some trumped-up roadshow. I'll show you the magic of true friendship, what it really means to share a bond. Just please don't leave. She looks up at you, eyes shimmering with desperate hope as she awaits your answer, heart laid bare. Talk about possessive. Think of all the things we could do to desperate Twilight. We could pet her mate or even hold her hoof. This needs more chaos. The direction was much easier with Glim Glam. Yeah, you heard him. The human has chosen the great and powerful Trixie. Trixie proclaims, standing tall with a triumphant hoof raised. She smirks at the crestfallen Twilight, savoring this victory over her rival. Oh, now don't be so glum, princess. We'll still get to see Anon sometimes. After all, the new greatest magical duo in Equestria has to make an appearance in your quaint little town every now and then. Trixie trots over to you, nudging your side playfully. But for now, my incredible new assistant and I have a show to put on. Just think of the tricks we'll dazzle the crowds with. They've never seen real human magic before. She turns back to the court, a springer step and her head held high. Now, if there are no further objections, the great and powerful Trixie bids you all adieu. Come along, Anon, our fans await. Very well, Anonymous has made his choice, the princess sighs, giving Twilight a what the hell? Commiserating yet reproving glance. God, Claude and its big words. Giving Twilight a commiserating yet reproving glance. Twilight, my faithful student, I know this is difficult for you, but we must respect Anon's wishes, even if they lead him down an uncertain path. Have faith in your friendship. True bonds can weather any distance. Celestia's ancient gaze turns to you and Trixie, her expression inscrutable. Trixie, Lulumoon, and Anonymous, the court recognizes your partnership. I trust you will uphold your end of the arrangement with fairness and integrity. Remember, the magic of friendship is the most powerful of all. Wield it wisely in your travels. The princess strikes her gavel a final time. Court is adjourned. In a flash of light, you find yourself back in Ponyville Square. Trixie's wagon waiting. Celestia's sun seems to shine a bit more solemnly overhead as a new chapter of your life begins. I swear if we have to scrub one toilet. Good ending. Yeah, I guess we're Trixie's assistant now. As Trixie and Anon are teleported back, Anon stresses out, happy with the way things ended. Well, now that that's all settled, I believe we have a show to get on the road, yes? Anon asks, holding out a hand to Trixie. Let's see where this life on the road together takes us. Trixie's hoity grin melts to a warm, sincere smile. You know what, Anon? Trixie's actually really glad you're coming along. It'll be nice to have some someone to share the joys and hardships of the road with for a change. She trots over and bumps your hand with a hoof. Just promise Trixie you'll stick with it, even if the going gets rough sometimes. A magician's life isn't all glitz and glamour, you know. There will be setbacks and difficulties, but if we face them together as true partners and friends, Trixie knows we can overcome anything. She looks off at the distant horizon, a sparkle of excitement in her eyes. Now come on, Mr. Assistant, adventure awaits, and the show must go on. She levitates a jaunty star-spangled hat onto your head. Next stop, Equestria. The ponies won't even know what hit them once they get a load of the new and improved Trixie and Anon Magic Act. She laughs gleefully and gallops for the wagon. Yeah, that Trixie said she wants it rough. Oh no. Well, I guess that is the ending of this little story. It looks like Rarity at the party of Bracy Nobles is winning the vote. So I guess that's what we're gonna go for.